All right, and we're back for the second round of playoffs of our VGC draft league. This is my first round because I had a bye. I recorded the full battles and for the best of 3, and I didn't have my mic on. So it's just a completely silent video. Yep. If you're curious about the team builder, the team is exactly the same as it was the first time I battled my opponent, Patrick. The only difference is I changed Wave Crash to Raging Bull. So yeah, if you want to see the EV spreads, there'll be a link to the battle from previously, maybe in the description if I remember. Either way, it'll be in the folder that this one's in, the playlist. But yeah, I'm watching this for the first time 2 weeks later because I'm a professional YouTuber. And yeah, enjoy. I'm gonna attempt to commentate over it. Okay, so turn 1, I figured we could trade fake outs, right? I can fake out the Iron Jugulus, he can fake out my Rotom, and we just adapt from there, right? I'm gonna get a guaranteed Electro Web off, I believe, and they will get a Tailwind off because both of us are Covert Cloak. And yeah, we'll see that here in a second. So yep, there's the Tailwind and the Electro Web. So another Electro Web will kill the Jugulus, and we're getting nice speed control into that slot. Because of the Electro Web, we don't have to worry about Urshifu or something else, just hard pivoting in because it'll do a lot of damage. And look at that, Urshifu comes in and it gets a speed drop. Now at this point, I'm thinking I want to get Tauros in to try and intimidate the Urshifu. I know it doesn't drop Wicked Blow, but it does drop all of its other moves, and it will drop the Rillaboom as well. So here we go. And I call the Urshifu, clicking a dark move into the Roaring Moon slot, which they do. And we get a Terra Blast Fire into the Rillaboom, and it's a 2-shot. So we are currently threatening Okos into both of these slots. However, Gramble comes out and intimidates us, and we no longer get the KO, and then we get CC'd. So Gramble was an excellent bring by my opponent. I was hyping up Gramble in the pre-match that I didn't actually record. So I said it the first time that I battled my opponent. Gramble was really good into me, and they brought it, so it's hype to see it putting in work. So now we're just put into a situation where we're gonna have to bank on getting a crit with Raging Bull, but we don't get it, and that will be the game. We lose 1-0 to Gramble here in a second. I'm trying not to skip turns. But yeah, even though helping hands and all that, it's not enough, right? Like doing all of 20%. So yep, GG's. If we were Wave Crash instead of Raging Bull here, we would have done a lot more. But on to game 2. So here I figured if they led the same thing, this is probably going to be an overall better lead, right? Because we can fake out the Rillaboom and set up our Tailwind, or we can start knocking things off, right? Or threaten immediate acrobatics damage into either of their mons, right? Either any of their flying weak things, right? But they decide to mix it up and bring Rotom lead, probably trying to punish my own Rotom lead, which they didn't. So here I'm mildly afraid of Rotom going for status moves. So I click Taunt with Roaring Moon. Yep. Now knowing that they fear my Taunt, I decided to switch it up and go for an offensive option and get big damage into the Rillaboom and remove Rillaboom and Grassy Terrain from the field. So, and then they get a speed drop into my Roaring Moon. My Roaring Moon outspeeds everything on their team, even though we're at -1 because of the booster speed, except Ogerpon. It is a speed tie because I didn't expect them to drop me by 1 stage. So, yep, but we get a Tailwind off, so now we are effectively faster. And that Tailwind puts our Mienshao into a higher speed. It doubles its speed, so now it outspeeds Urshifu and picks up the Oko, right? So, dynamic speed tiers being hype. And now Golden Go just gets to come in and start clicking Specs Power Gem, I believe, right? And we're just going to spam Breaking Swipe to get chip off on both things and drop attack stats, right? Rotom can't OHKO Golden Go, so I'm not too worried at this point. At this point, my opponent should have been going for like crazy triple protects and dropping my speed, but they never did. So we're able to just pick up the KO. And yeah, that's the game. So be going to game 3 here in a second. Yep, I forfeit. So I expect my opponent to lead what they led in game 1. And so I expertly call that and lead the same thing that I did game 2, right? Knowing full well that Roaring Moon is outputting a lot of offensive pressure, I have the ability to trade Tailwinds. However, I also have the ability to fake out and taunt the Iron Jugulus, which I believe is what I go for, right? We fake out the Granbull here. Yep, and then we get Intimidate off into the Jugulus, or taunt, excuse me. However, my opponent is Eject Button, which is sick, and they totally call me doing a fake out and taunt play and go for a Snarl, which is fine. At this point, Air Slash is an OHKO into my Yen Xiao that I should have been mindful of, but I didn't think about it. And so my opponent will go for an Air Slash and get the KO. However, this means I get to bring in Golden Go. And Specs Terra Steel Make It Rain, OHKO's Iron Jugulus. If I remember correctly, we ended up calcing it, and it was a roll in my favor to KO with the investment that they were rocking. And now we just get to spam Breaking Swipe and super effective moves in terrain, or not in terrain, but in Tailwind. There we go. That's the word. So, yeah. At this point, their attack stat's so low that Ogerpon's not really a threat. Even if they Terra, they're still at -1. And we could just shuffle Intimidate and spam Breaking Swipe. The -1 is unfortunate, but Rillaboom is still in range. We saw that normally it does 60% to Rillaboom. So this will KO. And it'll smoke the Granbull as well. But my opponent makes a smart play and fakes me out and goes for a play rough. The crit here on Tauros, I believe, mattered. I don't think I ever actually calced this. But because they crit me, that gave me a free swap in to Roaring Moon the turn that my Tailwind dropped. And I get to reset it and start spamming Make It Rain. So, and that'll just be game at that point. We Acrobatics into the Ogerpon, and we Make It Rain into the Granbull. So, got a little lucky, I believe, with Granbull critting our Tauros. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching. Sorry this is a shorter one. Again, I don't have any of the live commentary because I am a big dumb idiot boy. But yeah, I'll see you for the finals, which will hopefully be going up in less than a week. Fingers crossed. We'll see. But yeah, I'm pumped for the finals. Wish me luck.